The ancient archives of the Valdoran Empire contained thousands of mythological entries, filed away in digital vaults alongside fairy tales and children's bedtime stories. Among them, buried deep in the folklore section, was a peculiar entry labeled Terrans, or humans, supposedly a species from the Outer Rim that had vanished into legend eons ago. Admiral Kethvar had always found the stories amusing during his academy days. According to the myths, these humans were bipedal primitives who compensated for their laughably short lifespans by developing an inexplicable tendency toward violence and an unnatural attachment to concepts like honor and sacrifice. The legends claimed they could survive in environments that would kill most sentient beings and had somehow weaponized their own mortality. Ridiculous, of course. No species could be that irrational and still achieve spaceflight. That was before the sensors of his flagship, Eternal Dominion, detected the impossible. Admiral, his tactical officer Zephyros reported, his usually steady voice cracking, "We're receiving multiple displacement signatures on the outer perimeter. Configuration unknown." Kethvar's forearms moved across his command console with practiced efficiency. The Valdoran Third Fleet, 300 vessels of the most advanced civilization in the galaxy, had been conducting a routine expansion sweep of the Kepler sector. These outer rim systems were supposed to be uninhabited, ripe for colonization after the standard sterilization protocols. "Display tactical overview," he commanded. The holographic projection materialized above the bridge, and Kethvar felt his twin hearts skip a synchronized beat. Emerging from hyperspace in perfect formation were ships unlike anything in the Imperial databases. They weren't sleek and elegant like Valdoran vessels, nor did they follow the organic curves favored by the other known species. These ships looked like they had been forged in the heart of a dying star, brutal, angular constructs bristling with weapon emplacements and armor plating thick enough to survive planetary bombardment. "Sir," Zephyros whispered, "preliminary scans indicate." "Admiral, these match the mythological descriptions of human vessels." The bridge fell silent, except for the harmonic hum of the ship's systems. Kethvar accessed the folklore archives with trembling claws, his mind racing as he cross-referenced the sensor data with the ancient tales. The weapon signatures matched. The aggressive ship configurations matched. Even the bizarre power readings, antimatter reactors, pushing far beyond safe operational parameters, matched the legends perfectly. "How many vessels?" Kethvar asked, though his voice sounded distant even to himself. "Initial count suggests approximately 50,000 ships, Admiral, and more are still arriving." 50,000. The entire Valdoran Navy comprised barely 10,000 vessels spread across their massive empire. These humans, if that's truly what they were, had brought a force that could challenge the combined fleets of every known civilization. A communication request chimed across the bridge. Kethvar hesitated for a moment, then authorized the transmission. The holographic display shifted, revealing a figure that sent ice through his circulatory system. The being was exactly as described in the myths, bipedal, relatively small, with only 2 eyes and a disturbing lack of natural armor or claws. But those eyes held depths of experience that spoke of creatures who had clawed their way up from a death world and decided that the universe owed them nothing. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Defense Force," the human said, her voice carrying an authority that made Kethvar's scales instinctively flatten against his body. "You are in violation of Terran space. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." Kethvar found his voice, though it emerged as more of a croak. This sector is unclaimed. The Valdoran Empire has legal right to." "The Valdoran Empire," Chen interrupted, "has been strip mining inhabited worlds for the past 3 centuries. We've been watching. We've been waiting. And now we're here." The tactical display updated, showing the human fleet spreading out in a formation that defied every principle of space combat HFY had learned. They weren't arranging themselves for maximum firepower or optimal defense. They were positioning themselves to ensure that every single Valdoran ship would face multiple opponents simultaneously. "Admiral," Zephyros reported, his voice barely audible, "our intelligence networks across the sector are reporting similar human fleets appearing at every major Imperial installation." They're everywhere, sir." Chen's image smiled, and HFY realized with growing horror that humans had weaponized even their expressions. "The myths got one thing wrong, Admiral. We didn't vanish. We've been out here the whole time, watching civilizations rise and fall, learning, adapting, preparing. The galaxy forgot about us because we wanted to be forgotten." "What do you want?" HFY managed. "Justice," Chen replied simply. "For every world you've sterilized, for every species you've enslaved, for every child that died screaming in your expansion protocols." Her eyes hardened. "The Valdoran Empire ends today." HFY's tactical officer was frantically running probability calculations, and the results appeared on his personal display. Even with their technological advantages, even with their superior numbers in this sector, the mathematics were brutally clear. The humans hadn't just brought overwhelming force, they had brought the kind of strategic thinking that only emerged from a species that had spent millennia fighting for survival against impossible odds. "Sir," Zephyros whispered, "they're not just here to fight us. They're here to end us. Completely." On the display, Admiral Chen leaned forward slightly. "You have 10 minutes to begin full evacuation of all occupied worlds in this sector. Any ship that fires on us, any installation that fails to comply, will be considered a military target. We don't want to kill anyone, Admiral, but we've learned that sometimes the only way to stop a bully is to hit back harder than they ever imagined possible." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. HFY looked at his fleet, 300 vessels of the mightiest navy in the galaxy, then at the human armada that stretched beyond the edge of sensor range. The myths had called humans extinct, but they had been wrong about everything else too. They weren't myths. They weren't legends. They were the reckoning. "All ships," HFY said quietly into his command channel, "begin withdrawal immediately. Full retreat to Imperial space." He paused, watching 50,000 human warships holding position with terrifying patience. "And send word to the capital. Tell them the humans have returned." And this time, they brought friends. As the Valdoran fleet began its long, humiliating retreat, HFY couldn't help but wonder if humans were this terrifying when they wanted justice. What would they be like when they wanted war? He decided he never wanted to find out.